Yeah. She didn't even have a no soliciting sign, but she acted like she did. It was crazy.
Nice. That's awesome. And Ethan, you've been pretty new.
But it's same experience. I mean, you kind of progress yourself. I mean, if you need help, there's plenty of guys to help you out. It's pretty much a routine now. You get it going. I'm still learning myself. I'm learning from each and one of these guys. It's just how you apply yourself and how you take on the day. Because if you go on with a bad day, you show up to the door with a bad news. Just try to stay positive and confident.
Yeah. What's up? Pretty new. You seem like you got something to say.
Oh no, just kind of was seeing if it was like I was gonna have to speak, but no, I'm doing really good. Like Ethan said, you know, everybody around me is a great set of guys. You know, I pick everybody's brain and learn a new bit of information from every one of them. You know, for example, Bryson taught me how to spot read in books and, you know, take notes down so I memorize stuff better. Andrew's been working on me with different ways to pitch and like different signs to look out for. Dylan's not here, but Dylan's been a really good help too. Kind of just like holding me in track. You know, we got Ryan, Curtis. Everyone kind of gives you good bits of advice that you can pick from and just make sure that you're not letting your head get ahead of you.
Nice. Cool. And yeah, that's something I wanted to talk about. I love the progress I've seen in you from like day one to like now. It's awesome. All y'all. Cool. That's one thing I definitely want to talk about. The one book that they always had us read and that I always read and had people read was The Happiness Advantage. Like in this job, it's like 90% mental, right? You guys notice that? If you're in a good mood, it's rainbows. If you're in a bad mood, it's storms. Like it's your mind, right? So we do a lot of things in here to try to cover that. Being in social environments makes you happy, being on positive stuff. Just controlling your thoughts. So that's one thing, is positive thinking. I wanted to go over just real quick something that we're going to implement into our culture and into our company. And then I wanted to give just like 2 seconds of kind of advice, because I've been doing this a long friggin' time. And so I can kind of just see patterns and see things, and I just wanted to kind of fill you guys in with, kind of paint the picture a little bit wider, and so you guys are kind of like, oh, okay. But the 3 1s. So it's easy to remember, right? The 3 1s. 31. So the 3 1s, this is our standard, this is our culture. 100 doors. Like, we're not selling water systems or windows or something like that. You know, it's a short sale, and you should be able to get to 100 doors. And so marking 100 doors, updating at least 100 doors. I used to do 100 doors in my first 4 hours, and then I would re-knock those 100 doors my second 4 hours. Like, lots of people in the industry knock 250 doors a day to sell big accounts. Like, 250 is not a crazy number. You guys should be getting to the 200, 250 number if you're really hustling. The guys who sell big numbers, that's what they're doing. So just so you know. So that's the standard thing. Like, I don't know. If you're really into it, does that make sense? Is that am I crazy for saying that?
No.
Like, okay. 1 sale a day. I mean, who agrees that you want 1 sale a day at least, right? Like, and that everybody should get 1 sale a day. Like, that should be your goal. Like, if you go out there for 6 hours, like, you should make 1 sale. And I know it's crazy hard out there. I know the emotions, trust me, and the emotions never really go away. Like, you just get a little bit better at it and know that, yeah, I got this emotion, but I still know what the results will be. And then this is really what I want to talk about. 1 more. Who's heard of like the 1 more principle? Every single person's here. Perfect. Great. There's a book called Extreme Ownership. I don't know if you guys have read it. It's by Jocko, really hard military guy. And that's one of the principles of extreme ownership is 1 more. 1 more. So what does that principle mean though? Everyone knows it. What's 1 more?
When you're super tired and you don't want to keep going, 1 more block. And then when you're done with that, 1 more door. You're trying to get 1 more sale. Trying to get 1 more conversation. Just keep doing that and you'll be like way surpassing your old numbers.
For sure.
Yeah.
Like 1 more. Do any of you have any experiences with 1 more?
Yeah, well, I mean, the other day, me, Drew, and Josh were all knocking, and they were all like, let's go, like, you know, already got 2 sales, I've got a sale, and I was like, I have 0. I'm like, we're going 1 more block, I'm not leaving until we get one, and then I got one, and then we left. So, you know, it was like the last door, it was like the last house on that block, and I got him, so, yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so that's actually, I'm sure you all have stories. That's actually exactly what I want to talk about right there, is because when I would sell, I got to where it's 5 every day consistently. Like that was a floor day. I was always pushing for the 10, and I was hitting 7, 8, 10, 12, 5, free. Like what happened today? You know, there's a random, occasional, like a little bit lower than that. And I'm sure you guys are like, how? Like you guys are like, I want that so much, right? And so there's another thing I want to talk about, which in it, I sold 100 accounts, like 5 a day, my 2nd month doing this, after 30 days of doing it. So how did I do that? Because I obviously wasn't like the best salesperson in the world yet, right? Pretty new. So how did I do that? What do you guys think? My closing ratio obviously wasn't there probably. There's numbers. Do you guys know your metrics in this system? What are your metrics? Hours, doors, decision makers, pitches, quotes, sale, right? So there's lots of numbers. My closing ratio wasn't quite there yet, so what did I do?
Talk to a lot of people, knock on a lot of doors.
Quantity, volume. And I made a sacrifice. I was like, make it or break it. Like I was gonna die, so I had that extra push. And what I did is I was like, in this meeting thing, I was like, right after, like I am on the doors right away, and I'm going all day long into the dark. So I worked like 12 hours that first little bit, and with that much time, I made sales. Like I was like, I'm gonna make sales. So I made like 1, 2, 3 sales, and I was like, whoa. I did another big day, and I built the identity in myself that I sell 3 a day. So when I go, I expect to sell 3. I expect 3 people to buy. I'm like, okay, I need to sell 3, and I got 3 hours, so I'm gonna get a sale here soon. I can't make 3 hours in the last hour. So that's the first thing I did, was just kind of volume, right? And I wanted to kind of, and I know I wanted to fill you guys in a little bit on the pitches, because I know we just kind of switched pitches, and they're both right, but I wanted to help you guys understand a little bit more kind of the theory behind them, so you guys understand. Like my pitch, the one that you initially memorized and like switch over and stuff, that's for high volume. That's for high closing ratio. Like I love sales, I love getting into the details of it. So if you look at like my pitch, like that PowerPoint and that switch over stuff, it's very detailed, and it's like, say this word and that word and this and that, right? It's like, it works though. Like I always wanted to sell 1,000. I was like, that means I need to close everybody I talk to. That's not actually true, kinda. If you want to sell the most accounts, you don't have to close everybody. It's almost, you waste time closing everybody. Because I would close 1 in 3 people, which meant they would say completely not interested, screaming at me, and I'd still sell them. I'd be like, do this, and I'd do that, and they'd say no, and I'd roll them this way, and they'd say no, and I'd roll them that way. They'd be like, good, and I'd break off and talk about personal stuff, and roll it back in, and I'd sell another thing, and drink another thing. There's always close. Like, I think some people have been with me, like that Indian guy, where I was there for like 30 minutes, and finally got down to the minimum price, and I was like, what the heck, dude? Like, when they're not buying, I'm like, why are you not buying right now? Like, I 100% expect you to buy, and you're not. Like, what is going on? What's wrong with you? I just gave you my whole 30-minute thing. It works on everybody. Why are you not buying right now?
He didn't have anybody.
Like, I was like patting him on the back. I was like, come on, dude. Like, why are you not doing this? But I spent a lot of time, burning a lot of time, because we went and we ran into people who were like, oh yeah, how many of you guys have ever knocked on the door and they're like, it works, like they're interested. They're like, oh, what's cheap? And like, you're like, oh, cool, right? So the other pitch, the Vantage pitch, is designed for that, right? So just so you guys understand, it's a very short intro, and then you're more gauging for their interest. That's what you're looking for. It's less about like your pitch, and you're just finding their interest. So you do a quick little intro, And then and you guys know how that goes, and then you say, I'm doing it for super cheap. And you're gauging for their interest. You want them to talk. They didn't talk? Okay, cool. No, I'm not interested. Okay, boom, like you're off. Like that's one check. And then you're like, cool. Well, just so you know what's going on, let me show you what's happening over here. Well, actually, like the first one, right? In the intro, you say, hey, I'm sure you know like Nancy, area manager, Dan Camp Pest Control. We've been getting a lot of these like ants and spiders. And what's the first thing that you're looking for? Is for them to lean in. You're looking at them, and if they don't like to lean in, then they're not interested, right? And then you go, and the next thing, I'm doing it for super cheap, and if they don't ask, they're not interested. So then you're like, okay, and you're gonna try that 3 times, test them 3 times, you're gonna say super cheap. Okay, well let me show you what everyone's been dealing with, just so you know. Up here in the eaves, we get a lot bunch of mud daubers, spiders, creates the need, right? They just cut down all the trees, so everything has to build on your house, if that makes sense. Like, oh, okay. So you just created the need, you gave a reason why. You know, wasps, they love nesting up under eaves, right? Cool. So they're not gonna be able to nest anywhere else because there's no mature trees in the area, so all of them are gonna nest on your house. And then you know what happens, they end up getting into the attic and dropping down inside, right? Plus they kind of deter the like aesthetic effect of your home, I'm sure you've seen. And so you create the need, and they're like, so what needs to be done is I need to take a brush and I put a special product in there and I need to clean those eaves down all the way around the home. Now you can do that yourself, but what happens? Come back the next day. That's why we put that special product in there, so it makes it last. Plus we'll come back for free if you ever need anything. But you'd be shocked, like you'd be like, what's the next one?
Surprised.
You'd be surprised at how cheap we're doing it. And then you're what? Gauging for interest. If you're not getting interest, like, dude, this person's not hot, you could sell them. Trust me, they could be sold, but it's not worth your time to sell them. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like, that's what I was having a time with. I was like, I know I can sell you. And it was just more of a personal thing to me, but it cost me my golden door probably. If I had just been quick with it, I probably would have sold more. Because all you know how to make a sale, right? If they say, what's super cheap? Boom, it's a sale, right? You know how to make a sale, just find more of those. And when you don't get those, it's their fault. If they're not engaging, it's their fault. They're not engaging. So they're not your sale for today. So don't waste your time trying to sell them. And don't feel bad when they don't buy it. Right?
Yeah.
Like, you're just trying to, and it's very quick, because like when David, he was like, oh, I'm talking to 40 to 60 people a day. Those are quick conversations, right? So then you do the, then you do another, create the need, which is what, like on the base. Cool, well, just another thing to be aware of, since we are treating everybody, you'll probably see some kind of bugs moving around. You know, one of the big things you're gonna get, and do they follow you, right? And that's with the first Eve thing. You're like, well, let me show you what you're doing. Did they follow you or did they not follow you? Okay, dude, you're not giving me anything. You're not engaged. You'll still do it. You'll still kind of do it. You'd be surprised. Nothing. And you're like, one more chance, dude, and I'm firing you. Like, I'm saying no to you. And then you come down and you're like, yeah, look down here. If they're not engaging and you explain it well, who knows how to explain the services? Okay, right? Eaves, base, yard, pretty simple. You know how to explain it? You explain it, yeah, the eaves, you get the weed poles so the roaches and ants get in there. You know, what we need to do is do a 3 foot by 3 foot barrier so they don't get inside, causing them structural damage or like popping out when your friend's over or something. But man, like seriously, you would be shocked at what we're doing it for. And they give you nothing, then you're like, cool, like sounds like you're doing great. Boom, gone. Because you're finding the people who are interested, right? So it's just different strategies for different ones. I'm a slow walker and I'm a little bit too into the details. It's a bad thing for me. And so I always just tried to close everyone I had in my hands. But the better strategy for higher volume is higher volume. So like, you gotta be hustling. And I know like, you kind of want to mosey and go to the gas station and hang out here and talk there and get on the doors. Do you guys ever kind of not get on the doors, like right at 11? Guys, what time are you guys getting on the doors?
11:30.
11:30.
We leave here.
Yeah, once the
we
meeting
leave here
ends.
at like 11.
Okay.
It takes about 45 minutes to get to area Saginaw.
Yep. And then this is the biggest point. You guys want to know the secret to making large sales in a day? How I always made large sales in a day?
Getting close rate.
Early's good. Early's not the way. So it was always buy one more. And let me explain this. I would be out there for hours and hours talking to doors and doors, getting no's because I'm not talking to enough like qualified buyers, but I'm gathering a bunch of story, I'm prospecting, I'm looking for it, I'm putting in the work to find it, and I'm getting 1 or 2 sales before prime time. But then it, you know, and so it comes like 6 or 7, and I've got like 1 or 2 because I just put in the time and I'm actually working. I know my pitch and I'm putting in the time. And so it's 6 or 7. What do most people do if they got 2 to 3 sales at 6 or 7 o'clock at night? Dude, I had a great day. Good, I did great, right? That's what most people do at 6 or 7. I wish, is there anyone here that I've done it with? Because I've done it with the last 3 people I've gone out with, this has happened with all 3 of them. Except you. I don't know what happened that day. That was like it pissed me off. Like that was a bad day. I don't know what happened that day. But so I went out with Ezra. You guys know Ezra. And I went out and we knocked and we kind of tried to close one person and we closed them. And then the sun started kind of coming down a little bit and we're like, oh, we should probably call it. But then there was somebody outside on the sidewalk and we were like, one more. So we talked to them. And then we closed, how did we do? We ended up getting like 3. We closed that person, she like, and then we went and then we're like, oh yeah, we sent that person a quote. It was 8:30 at night. I texted him and I was like, hey, did you have any questions? Yep. I did that doorbell one as a ring, but yep. And then we ended up closing like 3. So with Ezra I did that. My nephew Thomas was out here this summer and we were going and it was dark, the sun was going down. We had already had like 1 or 2 sales on the board and there was a house right across from our car, right in the corner. I was like, dude, one more house. We went, knocked, like we walked up to it and from the sidewalk, I could see a spider on their wall. Like that's what it was. I was like, I can see a spider. So we knocked on it and boom, made a sale. They're like, oh, we know you, we've seen you and stuff, and made the sale. And so, and I always, have you guys ever seen me post a picture where it's dark at night and I post a picture?
Your headlamp.
Yeah, like I post a picture. Who's the other person? There was someone else, but that's how I always did it, is I was always one more because,
Hey.
oh, it was Dylan. Last time I went out with Dylan, we're in a neighborhood, the exact same thing happened.
You mean? That
We're
was our
going
first
all
day.
My feet are on fire.
I did
Like-
6.5 miles that day.
Like we're grinding, we're putting in the work, right? But we go and it's dark and we're like, what? Yeah, we were like the car or one more block. And it's dark and the people we're with are already checked, they're ready to go home and we're like, we're not done. What? We go all the way up the street, no sales. One more, all the way up the street, and finally, I've talked to this guy 3 times. I've knocked the neighborhood we were in 3 times. I've talked to that guy 3 times. He bought that time. Like, I don't know what it was.
It was me.
It was a different company too. I pitched him on different companies when I was with.
I
So,
take credit. It was me. It's my
the
intro.
one more principle, right? That's how I always, people would always be like, oh dude, good job, you sold 5 yesterday. And I'm like, yeah, I didn't sell 5. And they'd be like, what do you mean? Like, I sold 8. And they'd be like, oh, what? I didn't see that. Because I was always like pushing that envelope and dude, it's just this golden window opens up. I promise you. Have you guys ever seen that? Have you guys like, do you guys believe me?
Yeah.
Like, do you believe that there's like this magical golden window? I mean, we did it. With everybody in this freaking, like, every time I go knock with people, that's how I get sales with people. I'm not like, oh, well, we're supposed to get off at like 5:30 and it's like 4:45, which is kind of close. And I'm probably not going to make any sales anyways. Like, let's go. And then you don't make any sales. If you don't have any sales all day long and you've been knocking for 6 hours, that's great. Cool. Good job. You're doing the job. That's the job. Don't die before you get paid for it, you know? we went all day long. Again, sometimes the cars just don't line up. And we're out there trying to get some things happening, but then it's like, it's dark. We're like, one more neighborhood. Okay, one more street. And then we find someone and we close him. And he did drop off, but then what happened?
Call him back.
Like
Get
a month later, you got the sale. One more text, one more phone call, like one more role play. So that's our principle. I know that if all of us will do all of these things, we're gonna see massive success. One sale is a minimum. When you guys get one sale, dude, keep pushing because you're so close to 3. And that's the difference between a 1-a-day person and a 3-a-day person, is that they do one more. They push a little bit farther and they boom. After you make a sale, aren't you feeling pretty good? You know, that's the best time to make a sale, so boom, one more. And then you don't stop, dude. You've worked all day long for this time of day. Boom, like one more. Like, I don't know, what do you guys think about it? Like, this is just literally the experience that I have. This is how it works, guys. I'm just telling you how it works. Because every one of you has had, it's happened with you. That's just how it works. So it's not like you're gonna close a bunch all during the day. Like you are, and you should be kind of going quick. But it's that one little more. That's how I always made sales. And maybe I'm like wrong and do it different or something, but that's how I've always done it. Does that make sense?
Yes, sir.
What did you guys take from it? Like summarize that and like, what's the one more thing? Like, what are you guys gonna do?
Keep pushing. Keep pushing. Don't give up on yourself and don't give up on the people around you. Because you let one person go home, then okay, we all go home. But let's encourage each other to do one more. Because I myself have fallen victim to, okay, I sucked today. Let's go home. Today sucked.
Yeah.
But why do that when you could do, like you said, one more? So,
Dude, trust me, your brain is screaming at you, right? Like, I don't want to do this. Like, because you've been going all day long, you're tired and you feel like crap because you made no sales all day. Like, the world sucks. But like, dude, the world completely changes. Hasn't that happened to you? Something? You were going all day and the world sucked?
Yeah.
What happened as soon as you made that sale?
It was a lot better.
You don't feel pain at all. Like, the world's amazing, right?
Yeah.
It's crazy. And it's just, if you just don't ever stop with 0 sales, like, please, like, don't ever do that to yourself. If you have 0 sales, the day's not over, because you gotta go one more and get that sale. Like, you gotta get one sale, like, because it changes the whole day, right? It takes it from a crappy day where it sucked and I gave up and I'm disappointed in myself and there's no positive, to I pushed and boom, I made a sale and suddenly I saw you walk into the office that night and you were all happy. Like, life's good. So did that make sense?
Oh, yeah.
So it's a simple sale, gauging for interest with high volume, right? Like, don't be scared if you do 250 doors. That's okay. If you want to get more hours in, that's awesome. You were out till what time last night?
It was 8 when we wrapped up.
Yeah.
Like 7:50,
That's
7:55.
great. You guys are preparing in like a couple weeks. Daylight saving switches. Starts getting dark later. Dude, those 6 months are like gold. These next 6 months that's happening in a couple weeks are gold. We wait all year for this to happen. So be ready for it. Like, I know you're pushing and it's dark at 8 o'clock, but it's gonna start being light. Cool. So high volume, test them. If you have 0 sales, what does that mean?
Keep going.
One more. And we're gonna start bringing in people. We got more people set up to come in. This thing's gonna start growing. It's hard. It's a hard job. So, you know, you guys are probably gonna see some people kind of come on and come off. Dude, it's a hard job. Good job for you guys. You're winners. You're doing one of the hardest jobs out there. You're gonna make tons of money. So can we commit to making this like our culture?
Yes.
And like, that's like, dude, you have 0 sales. If you don't get 0 sales, like, one more. Did you knock on 100 doors? Dude, you didn't even knock on 100 doors today. Like, if we do it, 100 doors, 1 sale, one more. If you have one sale, what does that mean?
Keep going.
At the end of the day, you got one sale. Yeah, what do you do? Cool, if you have 2 sales and you go one more and you make another sale, what do? One more. Like, that's, how do you think I sold 15 in a day? Like, how do you think I consistently got 5 to 10 a day? Not by feeling good about 1 or 2. Like, cool. I know I've been on my soapbox, and that went probably way longer, but did that land?
Yes, sir.
Like, does that make sense?
Oh yeah, yes, sir.
100%, absolutely.
Like, so what are we gonna see that today? Like, get out there early, stay out there long, and trust me, it's not gonna be forever. Put in your time, and then life gets easier. You guys are gonna. This is a golden opportunity. Cool. That's it.
Let's 2 clap, Dan.
Yes, sir.